Okay.
And let's see where we go. Let me see. I just want to, who have I got for my Susan? 1, 2, 3, 4,
6 facilitators.
6 facilitators.
Yeah, including yourself.
Including myself. So if we get, I see at least 3 or 4 more potential as well. So. Okay, so let's get going. So today's session, the last time we did Grow Rotary, there was a lot of, there was some discussion around mentoring and mentorship. And so what we thought we'd do is we just make this session about mentorship and mentoring. So what I wanted to do is start out with just a question. And I need someone to curate the chat room for me, please. So the first question is, so what are the benefits of mentoring? And just either say it out loud or throw it in the chat room. If you throw it in if you write it, type it in the chat room, then we get to keep a record of all the comments that people are saying, and we'll just read them out in a minute. So go ahead.
I'll look at the chat room, Virginia.
Thanks, Bob. Oh, okay. And Charles, could you send? Okay, wait a second. Maybe I can do this. I will be right back.
If you could just, you just forward your email to them, and that'll have the link in it.
All right. Okay. I'll be right back. All right, done. That was for Joan.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see what we're getting here.
Would you repeat the question, Virginia?
Oh, okay. So the question was, our focus is mentoring. And so what are the benefits of mentoring? And let me tell you, if you're a new member, your experiences are important, as big importance as well, okay? Okay, let's see what we've got here. What do we got?
Okay, so we've got welcoming knowledge, friendship, interests, nurturing leaders, feeling I guess that's inclusive, fellowship, sharing, information, fun, buddy to show the ropes, growth and continuous learning, member retention, welcoming knowledge and fellowship, teaching, supporting, friendship, identify committee interests, member engagement, connection, feeling welcome, someone to ask the questions to comfort. So, okay, someone to ask the questions to and comfort. Inspiration for both the mentor and the mentee. Member engagement. Learning from past experience, good, bad from others. Passing on knowledge. Mentoring helps you build your confidence, learning from others, social capital, gain leadership skills. Better understanding of Rotary and how to engage more effectively. And that's what's in the chat room.
All right. That's a great list. I think there was one way at the front that said engagement of new Rotarians.
Feel part of the organization.
All right. Yay. Okay. So, so what we wanted to do is go into is have some discussions, and tough to do discussions with 2 screens of people. So what we're going to do is break into Charles is going to put us into some breakout rooms, And let me see. Charles, have you got maybe 8 set up? Or 7? We'll find the facilitators.
You're muted, Charles.
Joseph, would you facilitate for us?
Yes, if you want me to.
Thank you.
I think Marcy at one point said he would, but I think Joan is also, has Joan come
Yeah.
on?
Yes,
Okay,
Joan has. Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, I'm going to open the rooms and I'll do a little juggling and we'll be off to the races.
Perfect. Okay, so before we go to the, as Charles is doing this, what I want you to do is I want to think back when you first joined Rotary. Now, I know for some people that might be a while ago, or maybe think about a new member. So do you recall anything that you would have liked to have learned about? And the question for the whole group is, what do you think are the basics? What basics should be included in a mentoring program? Okay. And for each, and for the basic, I just don't want you to say, well, this is important. What I want to know is, why is that relevant? What do you want to achieve with that? Because there's a lot of information about Rotary. I'm still learning stuff about things about Rotary. So what are the initial off the ground things that we want to impart to new Rotarians? And any new Rotarians, this is a nice time to say, what do you want to know? So that's the task for this breakout session. And you've got 20 minutes and there should be a facilitator in each room. Take it away, Charles. You know, I almost feel like we need a little singing and dancing as the rooms get formulated.
So unfortunately, it didn't do it automatically as I requested, so I have to do it manually, but we will get to everybody there.
Definitely need. Linda, where are you?
She's in and out. I apologize for the wait.
It's okay, it gives us time to think.
Oh, good. I like
I
that,
like it.
Joanne. Or remember for some of us, maybe. I don't know, Wilf. Now there's going to be a good question.
What is going to be a good question?
So, Wilf, I want you to think back when you joined Rotary.
Yeah.
was, was there anything you would have liked to?
Pardon?
And so the question is, anything you would have liked to learn about? So when you get to your breakout room, it'll be interesting to hear what you have to say.
All right. Well, I'll think hard about it.
Remember to designate a note taker who will report back, please. Okay, we're almost all gone. Oh, there's Sonia. Hi, Sonia. I believe we have lots of facilitators now.
Yeah, I've got 7. On the go.
I guess Wilf is still here because he's at the end of the alphabet, eh?
He's, yes, he's last but not least. Hi, John and
Uh,
Aline.
Our apologies. We got some confusion at this end.
All right. I'm going to put you guys into a couple of breakout rooms, so you're going to disappear in a second.
Okay, Joe, I'm not on this meeting. My wife is, I'll send her down. You proceed.
Okay.
She's gonna show up here in 30 seconds.
All right.
Have we confused you?
No, it doesn't take much, but not this time. Okay, Nolene, I'm going to put you in another room here.
Okay, thank you.
Oh. Hi, Susan, you've dropped in and out. I'm going to put you in your own room here. Hi, Mohammed.
Hi, good morning.
They've gone to some breakout rooms. They'll be in for about another 5 minutes. Do you want me to assign you to a breakout room or just wait till everyone comes back?
It's been a long time. They have separated to a breakout room.
Yes, it's been they've been about 10 minutes. So
Okay, I'll be here because I had some internet issues. And I can't open my
okay.
video because if I open it, I can't hear anyone else. Sorry about that.
Okay. No problem at all. So you just hold tight and they'll be back shortly.
No problem.
Go grab a coffee.
Yeah.
All right, we're up to 47 now.
All right.
We're all back. So welcome everyone, people who came in after we started to break out. Thank you. So how many breakout rooms do we have, Charles?
We had 7.
Okay, so we have, let's start with room number 1 in terms of, so what we want to do is report back. We want to have this list of what sort of what are the basics to be included in a mentoring program. So what are the first things that a new member should what information should we impart to that new member or let them in on? So let's start with group number 1.
That would be Bob Wallace's group, followed by Joan Barrett's group.
Bobby there?
Now I'm not muted. Thank you. I bounced around in 2 or 3 rooms, but I ended up with a room and a good group of people and varying experience. And around mentoring and as a new member, the things that came out were they weren't really aware of the things around a typical Rotary meeting, the structure and what was going on. So awareness of the meeting. One of our group commented, new members drop off at a high rate, which we all know in the 12 to 18 months. And things like the overhead, the structure, and the costs of Rotary would have been nice to know, and advice on the constantly asking for funds for different activities. Another one talked about their experience, and that was, and I think I experienced a little bit with pets over the past couple of weeks, is a ton of information arrives all at once, and it's so overwhelming that spreading it out would be much better over a timeline rather than sort of dumping the whole load all at once. Another participant said knowing the history of their own club and Rotary International would be good to know at the beginning. And the next one was those, like, back to kind of what we talked about is around a meeting is the style of Rotary and navigating that org chart of club, district, zone, RI, and as well. And then finally, the topic around our language that we, when we're at the front of the room with a microphone, and that is that to a new member, when we start jumping into 100 acronyms, it sounds like a foreign language to some newer members, and some seasoned members as well. But taking time, making sure that we explain to new members when we start throwing pets and RILA and all those terms around, plus our events like Camp Enterprise was mentioned. What the heck is Camp Enterprise to a new member? So that's the list of stuff, Virginia. You can move on to someone in group 2, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
That would be
Group 2,
Joan
Joan.
Barrett's group, followed by Sonia's group.
Joan, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm going to turn it over to Susan McKinnon, who was taking notes for us.
Oh, okay. First thing that we had was classification. Some people didn't understand what classification was all about. We had the scope of Rotary, just knowing about the Polio Plus campaign, the international projects. And I guess when polio first was started, we were hoping to raise 140 million, but we actually raised 280 million. So little things like that, that would be nice to know. We had one person comment about when they joined, it was a men-only club. And of course, now females are allowed. So I guess a little bit of history about Rotary. Some basics about knowing the prayer and what happens at board meetings. And one gentleman expressed the meaning of fellowship. He wasn't quite understanding of that. And I understand what he means, because some people might volunteer at a soup kitchen once a week on Thursdays. Well, we might have our meetings on Thursday, but it's not a volunteer situation like going to a soup kitchen. Our meetings are strictly fellowship. And this person didn't quite understand that initially, but of course understands it now. And I think that's about all we had.
Okay, so who's the next group, Charles? Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan.
Sonia, followed by, I'm gonna ask Pat Newman, the group to be up after Sonia.
I am actually going to pass it on over to Bob Byers. He took the notes for our group, so I'm going to let him speak. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. Our group felt that there, excuse me, there needed to be an information package that is given to members, and that's going to vary from club to club. However, I think that there are some important things that came out, not from so much an information aspect, but things like ensuring that the mentor does not get too involved. It's so easy to burn out people in the first few months, but also to make sure that new member is aware of events, both club and other, and encouraging them to go. Encouraging and making the new member feel that it's good to ask questions as opposed to not know what is going on. And from an overall aspect for the mentor, it is going to be better if the mentor is someone other than the Rotarian who introduced that new member, so that they immediately know more than one person that is in the club. And that was basically what our group came up with.
Okay, and next?
Next would be Patricia Newman's group, followed by Susan Davidson's group.
Okay, Pat.
All right. I wasn't the one that was in charge of this group. It was Joan Littleford. So anyway, Joan, did you make notes? I was just part of the members.
Where's Joan?
Joan's up at the top, so she might have some notes.
You're muted, Joan. Bottom up, there you go.
Yeah, sorry. We weren't really sure who was doing so. What we did talk about was how Rotary operates. Just some of the bigger picture things was important for people to know. But in the end, it's when you get involved in the committee work that you really find out how Rotary works. So you get to know people in a smaller group, which is good for fellowship, but also to know how it's structured and how things run. So those were a lot of the pieces that we spoke about.
Okay, so Susan.
Joan,
Yep.
sorry. I was part of Joan's group with Patricia, and there was a good suggestion from Jennifer Hosko, basically saying that in addition to mentorship, maybe an opportunity for new members to be assigned a role within their club will help them also just get up to speed more, understand more about the club. So I thought that was also a good suggestion that came from our breakout room.
Thank you.
So give new members a job.
Exactly, something like that, a role that they can still fill and help bring them in. And in addition to mentorship, which is the other useful mechanism to get new members up to speed.
Okay, great. Okay.
Susan Davidson's group, followed by your group, Virginia.
Okay.
Charles, and I'll turn it over to John. I was in and out a little bit, so John took the notes.
Okay, we had quite a good discussion, free and open discussion. There were lots of points made, but if I summarize them, basically, one, the mentor should not be the proposer. The mentor should be making the new member feel at home, feel a part of the club. They should be making them realize that even as a new member, they have a voice and the club wants to hear what they've got to say. And another point that was basically made was you don't have one mentor. Everyone in the club is a mentor to new members, and everybody needs to remember that. You know, otherwise it's like a puppy's going to stay close to its mother. It's not going to mix with the other in the pack. Everybody is a mentor to new members. So basically, that was a summary of what we discussed.
So John, just a question around that. So as a mentor, then, would one of the mentor's jobs be to make sure that the new member gets introduced to lots of other new members and maybe has the chance to sit down and chat with other members other than the mentor? So essentially encourage them to go out?
Most assuredly, Virginia, yes. And we should all be encouraging our clubs when we get back together not to have cliques. That way, when the new members mingle with the club, they're not going to see this clique mentality. That's something that we should definitely try to avoid.
Okay, so thank you. I am next, and Danny took notes for me. Danny Cassidy from North Scarborough.
I was a note taker, so it's kind of just written down here. One thing I must say is that I don't understand the word John Byrne says. So we talked about members should know about cost requirements. They should know about time requirements. They should not feel as though that this is going to be a money pit. They're going to have to be throwing money in all the time because other people can throw money in. Members have to know, like, what is Rotary? We don't hear much about Rotary, so they have to know what Rotary actually is. What's Rotary International? What's the foundation? What's the requirements for the foundation? And all the acronyms, like everybody else has said. Most of the stuff I have here is what everybody else has said. The acronyms, people come up with things. Your ability to ask questions and not feel that they're stupid questions. And personally, I would think that if you ask a question and it's a stupid question, the reaction from the people that you're talking to should not be, this is a stupid question, right? Right? It should be an acceptance that there are no stupid questions. That you make sure that they have a sense of belonging. You have to they have to understand what the committees are. It's suggested that maybe they need to attend a committee meeting. Because we lose new members because they're left in limbo. So they attend committee meetings, they see what that committee does. You can send them out a piece of paper with what a committee does, but it's not the same as attending a committee. So they should be encouraged to attend each committee meeting. And it was suggested that the virtual meeting on Zoom have actually had a positive effect. Where people are getting to more meetings. So maybe Zoom needs to be continued in some degree in the future. It was mentioned that the RLI program is an excellent program, and I know that because that's, as I said to the group, I've been in Rotary 9 years, and this year is the first time I knew what I was doing. Or what Rotary was doing, because all I did was attend meetings and help, but I didn't know what any of these things were. And there should be a new member program in each club. One of the members of our group has a membership program like that, and it sounded very, very interesting. And back again to you need to be able to ask questions.
Thank you, Danny. And I think there were two interesting quotes in our group. One came from Danny himself because he's president-elect, and he said he's been going to PETS training and he's learned more in the last 6 weeks, is it? 6 weeks than he had. There's lots of things he learned that he never knew before. And I think Ted pointed out that he was in Rotary for quite a while before he knew anything, and hence starting something like the Rotary Moment. So members, so new members, so all sorts of members get more exposure to some Rotary information. But more, I think everybody agreed that let me know how the club operates. What about those committees? Where can I fit and where can I do things? Because people join to do things. Any other comments?
There was one last group, Virginia, Joseph's group.
Okay, Joseph.
I was put into Sonia's group, then I was taken out of that, and then I was put into Lars' group, and I think Lars has a note. Lars?
Yeah, I have some of what has already been presented, I guess, was discussed in our group too. One of the comments I think everyone around the table had was that it would have been good to, at an early stage, understand the structure of the club and the committees, how the committees work. We also realized that, yeah, mentorship can sort of, in a way, be divided into information for new members, yes, but it is an ongoing learning. And I think that was, for instance, what Danny said here, that he's learned more in 6 weeks than in 9 years. Because if you don't know what's going on in committees in the club or in Rotary, you will lose your interest. And actually out of that came that a couple of the clubs, and I think Joseph was one of the club, the October Club is one of them, that they put board material from board meetings and committees on the protected side on the club's website. So members can go in and get information there, or reports of what the committees do. Actually, in our club, we have now a committee report once a month, just for a very brief period. But that is because, again, it is important that people are informed, otherwise they lose interest. We made a little bit of a sidetrack into mentorship in the professional life, and how does it go there? What can we learn from there? We didn't go deep in it, but that's one thing. And one comment that came about the importance of having a mentor is in the Zoom era, the COVID era, that when people meet in person in a club, I can go and sort of ask that stupid question to one member. But when you have the whole club like this, I may not want to ask that stupid question in front of 50 people or how many we are. So it makes it important to have this connection. And Ken from Ajax brought up, his memory is about as good as mine. At a previous session like this, one club had shared that they appoint a mentor for a new member for 2 years. But we couldn't remember what club that was. So if someone is representing that club, please let us know, because we all felt that would be good, because as has been said by some people, there are so much material that comes, so we can't get it all during the first couple of months. If there is something I've forgotten that
Great.
Want to add, otherwise back to you guys.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I actually one thing, and I'm not, and maybe this is the place of the mentor. Someone said, and I got bounced around a bit too. So, but in at least one group, and it might have been the one I facilitated, somebody said, it's daunting when you might give new members information about fees. So these are our club fees. And then you're sitting in a meeting and there's sitting in a club meeting and there's a project and someone says, well, I'll donate $250 to that. Who'll match it? And then, so if you're a new member, and particularly if you're new in your profession, you will probably not come back, because all of a sudden, wait a minute, every time I turn around. And I think Bob Wallace's group sort of and talked about that as well. So so mentors sort of have to be on their toes to sort of to go talk to a new member and say, okay, you know, some of us have some Rotarians have deep pockets and they like to support projects, but you know, it's not, you don't have to. So
Virginia,
yes, ma'am.
it's Sonia. I was just going to say that in our group, Ron mentioned that, you know, coming in as new members, sometimes we have to realize, and this was said in one of the other groups too, about the cliques. As an older member or a seasoned member, you don't realize that the clique that you're sitting in, and then as a new member coming in, sometimes there's these cliques that are hard to break into, like you always sit at the same tables or you always do the same thing. So it's important that our mentors are able to get these people into these so-called cliques, whether it's the table, like, you know, shuffling things up so they can get to meet these other people and we, you know, engage them in things, because without that, then they're going to feel like they're isolated and they're not part of something. So
yeah, so it's not just mentorship, it's also club atmosphere and what is the club doing. So there's a couple of levels to this. Someone else needed to say, Nolene, did you want to add?
I just wanted to comment on the donations. Like he said, when you're still new, unlike me, I'm already spoken out. I always reach out to my mentors and I don't fear to ask something. Like, okay, when you're new, you can see people, of course, they contribute, which is part of Rotary. And sometimes you may feel like, oh, maybe I cannot be afford. Because for me, before I joined Rotary, I used to have this mind, it's for only rich people. That's what I had, like mentally, like, oh, will I be able to afford? Because me, I'm not in that class. But when you join, like in my club, so like they explain to you everything, but you might find other people who fear to reach out to their mentors to ask several questions like that. So they take you step by step and they tell you, no, you can, if you have, you can do this. As long as you know these first basics that RLI, you're supposed to pay these dues, this and this, then for these other donations, you can donate anything, you know, so yeah, that's good.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so we're going to go back to breakout sessions, and what I want to do is I want you to discuss, this is going to be shorter because we don't need introductions. I think we're going back to the same groups. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, what I want you to discuss is, so how are we going to make this work? So how can we put a mentoring program in place in each of our clubs? Now, if you've already got one, maybe don't dominate the conversation, but at least maybe how did you come about it? Because I know there's at least one club that when a person in our group joined, there wasn't a mentoring program, and now there is, and he's pretty happy about it. And how can we put that into action? Okay, so that's what we want to come back with. So now we were talking about what's important in it, and now it's, okay, so how do we make it, how do we get it into action in our clubs? So take it away, Charles.
The rooms are the same and they're being set up now.
We're back. Yay. Okay, so let's find out how we're going to make this mentorship program work. Or if you've got one, how it should be improved. Like here, it was this is sort of the part of the how-to issues you talked about. So Charles, number one is Bob?
I think that's me.
Bob Wallace's group?
Yeah,
Yes.
so Virginia and Charles and the rest of the group on the call. Yes, in my group, including myself, for the 7 of us, no one has what I would call a mentoring program. We all think it's a good idea to mentor, but we seem to all do it in different ways. And connect with somebody in your club who is a seasoned member who you can ask questions of. But the new member or mentee, is in this case, might not know what questions to ask. So as I say, no one has a structured mentoring program other than they think it's a good idea, and they do it loosely, but probably very different mentor to mentor. So that's what our group came up with.
Okay, and we're going to Joan?
Joan Barrett's group, followed by Sonia's group.
Okay, and once again, I'm going to turn it over to Susan McKinnon, who made the notes. But in our group, I'll just put it out there, most did not have what I would call a formal mentoring plan. Susan, it's all yours.
Okay, we thought that there should be an assigned member for 2 years, and that we should have a package for the new members and let them read it and digest it and then ask questions. We think it should be in your strategic plan. And what else did I have? Oh, some people do have a mentorship plan for 2 years, but it's an evolving mentorship plan, and it can shift and change as needed. And you have to make your members know about the committees and the committee structure and let them decide what they want to do with the committees.
Okay, so Susan, here's a question for you. You say it's evolving, it shifts. So why does it shift? And if anyone can answer that, who was in the group.
Are you okay with that one, Susan?
Let me think.
You're muted.
You're muted. Susan, you're muted.
Not sure how that happened. Okay. That wasn't my own comment. That was from somebody else, but that was the comment. The mentorship changes as required.
Okay, so Joan, I'm going to throw that one back to you.
Okay, I think having a formal plan means it could sit on the shelf for 10 years. In the 8 years I've been in my club, and that came from me, in the 8 years I've been in my club, things have shifted tremendously in Rotary. So that's why I like the term evolving mentorship. There are a few things that should be in place. So if somebody takes over the membership team, or it's a whole new team, they have some ideas that have proven to work in the last few years, but you have to keep revisiting and looking. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Perfect. Thank you, Susan. Joan, where are we going next? Are we going to Susan next by any chance?
Was Sonia's group next, followed by...
I'm just going to speak for a minute because Ron is going to take over the show right now. So we're going to hear from Ron. Thank you, Ron. Here you go.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sonia. First of all, let me say we were an extremely good group, well facilitated by Sonia indeed. But also we were very fortunate in that Mohammed, a Rotaractor from the Scarborough College U of T, was a member. So we saw that perspective as well. Started out by saying, if we want something to succeed, then the leadership, it has to come from the top. So the thought was that the president, working with the board of directors of a club, have first of all put together what they mean by a mentorship program. What's the purpose? What are the goals? What are the objectives? And then when the board of the club has agreed to this, then identify somebody who would like to run with that particular ball, so that we can look at somebody Miss X, Mr. Y, Miss Z, you are the leader of the mentorship. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody else can sit back, but it needs a leader of the program if it's to be effective. Then it was suggested that one of the early things that should be done is, first of all, communicate to members of the club. Let the club know that this program is being launched and find out who would like to be a member. It's not something that would fall naturally into everybody's bailiwick. Some people would be enthusiastic about it, others won't. Let's find out who would really like to be a mentor. Then it was suggested that very early on, the club holds a workshop led by these would-be mentors, but a workshop for all members of the club. And these days, of course, it's easy to have all members of a club when meeting virtually. They hold a workshop, and when they agreed, and in this workshop, they find out what are some of the issues facing members of the club. What do they need to know? And then based on that workshop, then this person leading the membership, working with the board, to say, okay, these are some of the things we need to prioritize. This is how we're going to go about it. And it evolves from this point. It was suggested that one of the early things that should be stressed in the membership program is the four-way test, and encourage members to discuss it, not just read about it, but why not have somebody talk about the four-way test, what it means to them, and might be particularly effective for a new member coming in. What does the four-way test mean in my vocation? What does the four-way test mean in my, let's say, relationship with the family? What does the four-way test mean if I'm a school teacher, and so forth? Just explaining it, help understand what could be done. I think that highlights it. Very, very good discussion, very well moderated by Sonia. But I think I've got most of the points. Sonia, what have I missed?
I'm just going to say one thing, that Mohammed stated that a transition, we need the transition coming from, you want to pick up from there, Ron?
That's a very, very good point indeed. Yes, that somebody in the Rotary Club should be responsible for looking after the Rotaractors. When they leave the university, they might drift out, but if a linkage is established early on, bring those Rotaractors into the Rotary world. Thanks, Sonia. Very good point.
Okay, so a slightly different twist on that mentorship. Thank you. Thank you. I think Susan is next, correct, Charles?
Actually, Joan Littleford group, and then followed by John Burns's group, who was Susan's group.
Okay, I guess maybe I wrote down a bunch of notes from Joan Littleford's group. So we had 3 reasonably new members in our group, which was very interesting. And hearing the perspective, we were really thrilled to have Wilf in our group. So we had lots of good information. So I asked the 3 new members if they could give us some idea what would really help them. One of the members felt that just being with interaction in the club, a loving service, doing things with the club, that really served a good purpose for him. One of the other members felt that newer members that in order to do a membership or a mentoring program with membership, it would be really important to have seasoned members become part of that welcoming committee. So obviously set up a committee and make that the mentorship really formal. The other thing is give the new member a role or get them involved in a committee right away, because that's how you really get to know members and you get to know more about Rotary. Then we went to one of the other members who has actually set up a mentoring committee or a mentoring role in her own club, because as a new member, she felt that this was important. So she said, setting up the club as needed, expanding the membership committee, which would then create more people to mentor, and having people mentoring the new members really gets them involved. Now, let me see, was there anything else on here that I forgot? Yes, and in this particular club, the chair of the membership committee, or I guess it's one person, actually still is actually interviewing people and going through the whole routine and giving a lot of information when that interview is done. But the key is to just get it set up, even if it's just 2 people to mentor. I think that was it. Was there anything else that I missed?
Good. All right.
Very important.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay.
Okay, Charles, who's next?
John Burns's group, followed by Virginia's group.
Okay, I think I'm John Burns now.
Okay, thanks, Susan.
So one of the ideas that was brought up as we started talking about membership or mentorship, and when we had first talked as a committee or as a group, we sort of looked at the sense of belonging, your place in the club, as well as the information. So that was kind of the goals and the premise of mentorship that we were talking about. And it was suggested that forming a mentorship/membership committee, and it would be of more senior members, but definitely newer members who sit it down and say, okay, what are the goals of mentorship? What do we need? What does our club or our new members in our club want or need or wish they had when they joined Rotary? So it was coming up with some goals from this committee. So it's back to that planning and getting information from new members as to what they need. And then out of that, if it's a situation where a club is going to assign mentors, and many felt that that's a valuable thing to do, it'd be for an extended period. And I think we've heard 2 years sort of suggested it as a time frame. And then that during that time, set regular meetings and not turning it into, another Tuesday morning Zoom meeting, but looking at over time, regular times to meet and to talk. And I think also that the mentor would have some ideas as a structure as to what to talk about. Certainly input, and you want to get input from the new member, the mentee. But at the same time, often people just say, oh, I'm fine, or it's good. So having some definite questions, and also trying to get a feel, like, do you feel welcome? Do you feel that you are valued in the club? And it can't be asked like that, because I think that makes it a difficult yes or no answer, but just trying to get that information from the mentee to make sure that they do feel welcome, they do feel valued, they do feel that they belong within the club. So that was another aspect of it. And then also was suggested that the new member committee, and in some clubs, new members might form a small committee, and there might be a couple of senior members on it, but that committee is given some funds, some money, and saying, here is X number of dollars as a new committee, as new members, what is a project, what is your passion, what is something that you want to do? Because again, that is very much valuing the voice of new members and allowing them the opportunity to sort of have a say in how the club is going right away, and to get people involved right away. So I think, and then also checking in, and not just with new members, but with senior members in the club, that just check in possibly by phone, just to say, how's it going? How are you feeling? And getting some input and some feedback as to people's feelings about the club. So I believe that is the main thing. We talked about information and information overload, trying to make sure that newer members understand where and how to access information, but at the same time, not overloading them with the amount of information.
Great, thank you, Susan. Okay, I'm gonna ask Danny, I'm next, right, Charles?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so Danny, can you give us the key points?
Yeah, being at the end, I'm probably going to be repeating a lot of stuff, so I'll try not. We had three members of the group had a program. One member has an information committee that meets occasionally to make sure that the whole club is getting information. It was suggested that there is a mentorship chair to match members to mentors, maybe a subcommittee of a membership committee. It was said that what's important here is that not everyone is a good mentor. So just matching people up is probably not a good idea. A good mentors should be found, and maybe mentors that might have a negative impact should not be used. It was suggested that a mentor before the first meeting maybe have a coffee within the new member, and then keep in touch, and that was what we said. That Pick the correct mentor again, match the skills required. Proposer to be comfortable. Oh yeah, it was said earlier that that the proposer should not be the mentor. We had a slight disagreement about that because in some cases the new member may be more comfortable with the proposer. Now the proposer may not even know the new member, because if I am the person that's in charge of new membership as the incoming president, and I really don't know these people, but I am the proposer, right? So there's a difference of opinion there. Maybe sometimes that the proposer could be the mentor. It was asked again, does gender matter? Should it be female to female, male to male, or does that matter? It was suggested that the mentor should introduce, so that the mentor should know that the new member should have been talking to the new member, should meet the new member, should get to know about the new member, and like it was said, a reverse classification where the mentor introduces and gives information about the new member, right? That way that the mentor really understands some things about the new member. And someone in the club should be leading this. So there should be someone in the club that leads the mentorship program, or mentorship subcommittee. How long should someone have a mentor? It was suggested maybe 2 years. Also, to have a membership committee with a mentoring subcommittee would depend on the size of the club. Like if you have a very small club, it's very difficult to have all sorts of committees. So the size of the club is going to be a major effect. We need to make sure that mentorship mentors are trained properly, that we have mentorship training sessions, and as the person in North Scarborough that's responsible for new members, I believe that a mentorship program is the essential for retention. That's my personal opinion. I am calling new members that don't come to every meeting or maybe miss 2 or 3 meetings. I call them and give them, for some reason, just to keep in touch with them. Yeah, it's very important for retention as far as I'm concerned.
Great. Okay, thank you, Danny. Joseph, not to leave you out again. You're on mute, Joseph.
Yes, I'm gonna ask Lars. Lars took the notes.
Yeah, and
thanks, Lars.
Most have been said, I think, already.
Right.
We discussed it that mentorship should fall under the membership committee, and if I look upon my own club, we actually have one person on the membership committee who's looking after mentorship and arranges that, and he actually makes a point of speaking to each new member, and I think it has worked very well. The importance of introducing the new member to different things, like take them to make sure that they end up in committees or get a view of different committees. Some, again, Ken actually brought up Know Your Rotarian, which is a pairing in Bowmanville. I understand that they have, when people meet, and maybe it is also happening now, that senior seasoned Rotarian sit down with a new Rotarian, and they both get to know each other that way. The importance of having classification talk fairly recent to joining, but that of course also brings up, which some clubs have, the fact that they have
older members, more long-term members giving presentations, what has happened to them. And then, which is a little bit on the sidetrack, but we also brought up the fact that there is a lot of mobility in the GTA. People leave downtown Toronto and move out to Belleville or Prince Edward Island or and so on and so forth. And that we make sure that we get those people, and when things return to more normal, also people from other countries, which is an opportunity. And there, Pat, the welcome wagon was mentioned, and that is probably another time for another meeting. So.
Okay, great, Lars. Thank you. Okay, so I think there's a whole lot of lists and ideas here. So a couple of comments I want to make, and then I'll let maybe if we have time, some other comments. First of all, every club will probably be a little bit different. Your clubs aren't the same. Your mentoring programs won't be the same. But you do need to start somewhere. And I think I heard a number of people say there has to be a point person. There has to be someone in charge of it. It's the old adage, if you just point to a group and say, oh, okay, who's going to do it? Nobody does it. Whereas if you actually single out a person who's in charge, and or like someone agrees to be in charge, then you'll get something done. What we have before this meeting, we pulled together a couple of things. And in some of these cases, I've stolen some stuff. I apologize to the clubs, and we may actually put some more in. So the first one is a sort of a compilation of several mentoring programs that clubs have in the district, and it may be pieces of what they have. And we're going to put all these materials on the district website. I'll probably, if I can, if it'll work, I'll send them out to you. But otherwise, I'll send you out the links. The second piece is a new members letter, and I guess this one comes from the Oshawa Club. So it's an example of how you can, it's a letter that goes to new members when they join, and it sort of gives them a list of things that they're expected to do with their mentor. So it's a way of communicating to the new members when they first begin. And gives them sort of a list, and definitely gives them a list about things they should do.
Virginia, can we show some of these on the screen? I think this is really a key point of giving the clubs some structure around what could be a mentor program.
Okay, let me see if I can grab that. Okay, let me see.
This is really important that clubs are able to take this home as a tool to work with.
Okay, you talk for a minute,
okay.
And I'm just going to go out and find and get that.
Okay, so I think what I heard in the big group and what I heard in the small groups that I was with is that and I don't like the word formal mentoring program, but I think we need to have a bit of structure around our mentoring programs in each club. And each club is very different. So each club has to develop their own. But what we put together was a guideline, if you will, a sample mentoring program that lists the things that possibly you should cover in a mentoring program. We've talked a lot about, well, we get together and we socialize and we ask some questions, but in some aspects, the mentor doesn't know what questions to ask. So I thought we should have a tool or something to start with for a listing, and that's what we put together. Hey, how are you making out, Virginia?
Okay, so here's our road of and essentially, so I'll just scroll slowly through it, or Bob, you can make comments
I can
on this
scroll
one.
through it, yes. It's not open just yet, Virginia.
Oh, has it opened?
No.
So I'm not sharing my screen oh, wait a minute.
You have to open that sample Rotary Mentor Guide. And this is
Okay.
what we would like to provide to everybody. So can you open it?
Well, it's open on my screen. Just a second.
I should have had this open, ready to go on mine.
Okay, just let me do a stop share here and let me do
Okay.
share.
Share the right screen on your,
Yeah, that would be the thing to do.
okay. Can you get it for us?
Okay, first of all, let me do this for a second. This is can you see this one?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the letter that Oshawa sends out. So it's sort of a letter to a new member, and it lists out, here are some things that as a new member, we want you to do. It's a way to get connected to the club and to Rotary. But this is also a letter that the mentor gets as well, because the job of the mentor is to ensure that the new member gets through these steps and can actually is able to do it. Okay. So
Okay, so this list is from the Oshawa Club, and really it's a lot of stuff to do with websites, which is one aspect of mentoring, but the other part is lots of other things than just the websites. So can you show that mentoring guide, Virginia?
I can. I'm going to stop share, and then I'm going to share again. It should be open now.
No.
Is this it? How's that?
That's it. Okay, so if we scroll down scroll down just a little bit. So this is something I want you to take home and adapt to your particular club. So scroll down a little bit, Virginia. So the objects would be to share knowledge, help. You're going way too fast here.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I can't.
Okay. How about this?
Okay. No, back up a little bit.
There.
So sharing knowledge and getting them involved, being a resource and being a friend. So several talked about having a mentorship committee, and that's important. Several talked about having a new member guide, a package, or something that could be given out to new members. Again, going to be very different for each club. Scroll down a little bit. Tasks for mentors. I've put some stuff in there. Should be present for the induction. Schedule coffee. I heard that earlier, and meet with the new member. Take them to another club. Do a makeup. Of course, we can't do that right now, but we can certainly join in on a Zoom meeting. Help them through the new member process and keep track of their progress. This is important. The mentor should go over the committee structure. We heard that. So what this does is write down several things that you should do. So it almost becomes a checklist. So you do this, everybody in the club does the same thing, but you make sure you cover everything. Scroll down a little bit more, Virginia. We talked about have a coffee, the induction, how important it is. What is an induction? What are club meetings about? The structure, we heard about that. The mentoring process list. Here's a good list of examples that I came up with. A little bit, update your profile in Club Runner, add a photo, more information about yourself. Be the door greeter. Attend new member meetings, do makeups, join committees, participate. So all the things that you should do. And again, what this is as a starting point for your particular club. Scroll down a little bit more, Virginia. New member requirements. So I've kind of put down black and blue here. Go to the Rotary website, Club Runner, Facebook page, My Rotary. Keep going. The district site, the zone site. I heard RLI popped around here, but nobody said it's the Rotary Leadership Institute, and encouraged, go with somebody to the Rotary Leadership Institute. Keep going, Virginia. Rotary Direct, how to donate to the foundation, and then some more detail on activities. Be a greeter, attend a board meeting, attend new member meetings, do makeups, join committees, participate in a club project, give a classification vocational talk, bring a guest to a club meeting. Lots of ideas. So keep going. I think we're getting toward the end of my list.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, so this is a starting point that we thought we put together a district template on what the heck mentoring is. And so we will continue to massage this to make sure we cover everything. And I'd like if those on the call to, if something we've absolutely missed, send it out. I know we tried to put this together this week, but if there's something we missed, but the otherwise, we'll send it out to you or put it on the district website, and then it's a starting point. You can adapt it to your own club. It's a Word document to use. So back to you, Virginia.
Thanks, Bob.
Great.
Well, and I think the thing is that you should remember, clubs are different. Your mentoring program will be different. So adapt it to your club. But I think it's a good start. And talk to your new members about the things that they might want to know. So any questions? I think we just ran over our time a little bit, but any questions before we go?
Lots of comments in the chat room to get those documents out to the participants on the call. And our focus as a membership committee was really, we wanted you to take something home as a tool that you could work with, rather than starting with a blank piece of paper saying, we should mentor, but we don't know what it is.
Virginia, would you like me to send you those notes I took or not bother?
Oh, yes, please. And if your facilitators, if you could send me notes, that would be great. Means I don't have to listen to the whole tape, but it would be great if I had your high points. Yeah. And we'll also include that in terms of, because I think there were some great ideas. Charles, can you make sure that we get a copy of what's in the chat room?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Virginia.
Okay. Yes, John.
I just wanted to give everybody a little laugh before we go. I had a fantastic mentor, a 29-year Rotarian, a past president. And I swear to God, when I woke up in the morning, I actually knew more about Rotary than I did when I went to sleep. She was, of course, my wife.
Yes, I knew where you were going there, John. Pauline's a great lady.
Thank you very much, everyone, for setting aside some time on Saturday morning. At least it was raining when we started, at least here. And I hope, if there are questions that come up, just send them off to me. We'll find some answers for you.
Very good.
Okay, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That was very useful. Great discussion.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you to all my facilitators, and Bob, thanks very much for helping, for pulling the sample guide together.
Thanks, Virginia. We'll get it out to everybody.
Bye. And DJ Mark, you didn't even have to say anything. He's gone. Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Charles. I always forget Charles.
That's okay. It's the way it should be.
So thanks very much, Charles. It was great. Phew.
Another one down.
Yeah, you know what? There's none on the horizon right now. So at least not right now for membership, although someone asked for a